Okay, Dr. Awesome here with a short book review. And this is Horus Rising, the first book in the Horus Heresy. And I bet you're probably wondering why I'm reading this and not continuing on with Star Wars books. The Star Wars books I've been kind of disappointed in. It's not that they're bad, they're just not really great enough. They don't grab my attention, so it's just wanted to try something different. And I did read one previous Warhammer book. Liked it a lot. I would say that one was better than your average Star Wars book. So I decided to try another. And I'm really glad I did, because this is actually better than any of the Star Wars books I've read. I've read about 20 some, I think it is. And yeah, this is just better. So I'm hoping that they continue this good average, and I'll just continue with the Warhammer books as time permits. I am reading a couple of manga now, so if I finish those off and don't add new ones, I'll probably be reading these at a faster pace. Right now, I'll probably do about 3 or 4 a year, and until, like I said, I get through some manga, don't add more, or I'll probably retire by the time I finish with the Horus Heresy series. In that case, I'll have plenty of time to read. Okay, this book takes place. It's about 10,000 years prior to Warhammer 40k, so it's kind of like Warhammer 30k. And it starts in the 203rd year of the Great Crusade, which is the big war to unite humanity and wipe out aliens. And it seems that branches of humanity that colonize the galaxy, some of them have been separated by thousands of years. So we're going to bring them all into good order with the Empire, or as it's called, the Imperium of Man. First off, I'm a noob. I am pretty new for Warhammer 40k. I just watched a bunch of lore videos so far. It seems that main things that are different in this time period is, let's see, Psychers aren't a regular order of battle. They're mentioned, but they're not like deployed with troops, So I'd like to see how that develops. And Chaos Corruption is not known to at least the characters in this book from the Imperium. So there's one episode of Chaos Corruption. It takes everyone by surprise. But it seems that there are histories written that this sort of thing has happened before, but they weren't really sure what it is. So I'll be pleased to see how that develops, and then we, move on to Warhammer 40k stuff eventually. And of course, the army is not known as the Imperial Guard at this point, and we do see the beginning of the Emperor worship. So it'll be really interesting to see where that goes, because at this point in this book, there's, religion is outlawed. They're totally secular. Anything that seemed supernatural, is, explained by science. Most surprising thing about this book is how character-driven it is. I was expecting a lot of action and fighting, but 80% of this, I would say, is just characters interacting with other characters. So there's tons of character development, some world building secondary to the character development, and the story is like really straightforward and pretty simple, actually. And the story, I think, just serves the purpose of, letting us see how the characters go through things and how they react to things and what it all means to them. And I did put off reading Stardy's story because I thought I couldn't relate to, giant genetically engineered super soldiers. But actually, they're just very human and very relatable. And I am a little fuzzy on how they're made, because it says they're made from people, with the right body structure to become Astartes, but they're also genetically engineered and enhanced. So I'm unclear there. So yeah, I'm waiting to just looking forward to getting new information about that. Anyway, I was a little bit worried when I saw the character list. There's tons of characters, actually 3 pages of characters. But yeah, about half a dozen of these are very well developed, and the others, developed to some extent. The first one that's well developed, let's see, and I think the main character of this story is Garvio Logan. He's a captain with the Lunar Wolves Legion, and I actually like this guy a lot. And I did, going in, I expected that these Astartes were just going to be like, violence maniacs. But they're not at all. They are violence maniacs when it comes to killing aliens, of course. But they do, take over human civilizations as well. And there's always, at least in these instances, there's some regret in doing that. Having to fight other humans. But the character of Loken and others, they just believe very hard in the Imperium of Man. So they think long term it's in humanity's best interest for all humans to be brought into the fold there. And he's pretty well educated, kind of an intellectual, and actually has a tutor that he employs as well. Of course, Horus, the War Master Horus, is also well developed. He's also very likable, and as a commanding officer, he's just like fatherly and thoughtful, loves to think things through. He'd rather think things through before going into action. And he also regrets war with other humans. And I do actually like the culture of the Astartes. They have kind of like their brotherhood and their military traditions and ceremonies. And it's like everybody else is kind of an outsider, and can you really get to know them? Yeah, I just like all of these guys. So I want to see, what they do with the coming wars and who goes on what side. It'll be really interesting, and I hope further stories are as good as this one. And so this is all about the characters. So I do highly recommend this one if you're into military science fiction with like a kind of a weird alien side to it. Yeah, I would highly recommend this one.